She's negotiating. You have something in your hand or not? If you got nothing, I ain't coming. Happy Wednesday, Baylor College of Medicine and friends of Baylor. Well, it's turkey time. We're all excited about Thanksgiving, so we can't really spend the day talking about coronavirus. Today, we're going to have a whole session on Know Your Turkey. So, you may not know this, but turkeys are a little bit more resistant to diseases than chickens. Chickens, get all these avian flu viruses and all that kind of stuff. Turkeys are pretty resistant to those, but turkeys get worms, gape worms that they lodge in the trachea of the turkey, and they also get intestinal worms. It's not that common. Mycoplasma pneumonia is fairly common in turkeys. It's common in people too. It happens in people. But it's one of the most common pneumonias in turkeys and can cause like wasting syndromes and sort of what they call lameness. They also get something that's called respiratory disease that's called rhinotracheitis virus, and that's another fairly common cause of respiratory infections in turkeys. They get adenovirus just like people can, but it causes a hemorrhagic enteritis. And like pigeons, they get coccidiosis as well, and salmonella, which is a real problem in humans. Turkeys tend to transmit it to people, but they don't get it themselves. I mean, they get it, but they don't get sick from it. One of the most interesting things about turkeys, and I find this fascinating, is rapidly growing turkeys almost act like they have a Marfan syndrome. And so if they grow rapidly, especially males, they are prone to aortic aneurysms, just like Marfan syndrome's patient. And actually, the latest kind of development in turkeys, the broad-breasted white male turkeys, develop hypertension, tachycardia, and arteriosclerosis, and early on in their age may spontaneously get aortic dissection. So it's a model. There's a way to induce aortic dissection in turkey. So it's a common model for medical research. Now, there are 6 major species or subspecies of wild turkeys, and they're actually kind of cool birds. They're pretty. Eastern wild turkeys are the most widely distributed east of the Mississippi River, and they look like that. They're very beautiful. The Florida turkey is often called Osceola, the Osceola turkey, because it's from Osceola, Florida. It's found in Florida. There's not a lot of them. They're sort of not endangered, but there's only about 100,000 of them. The Rio Grande wild turkeys are concentrated mostly in Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, and other western states. Mexico has a few of them. They're a little bit squatter, but they're also pretty. And Merriam's wild turkey is a real pretty purple turkey. These wild turkeys are most abundant in the mountainous regions. The Rocky Mountains are considered the central hub, and they're really quite interesting. The Gould's wild turkey is found in Arizona, New Mexico, and northern Mexico, and they are very rare. So they're interesting but rare. And the ocellated turkey is found in about a very small 50,000 square mile region in the Yucatan Peninsula. They're the ones that look least to me like a turkey. So there's a lot of talk I've noticed on heritage turkeys. So what is a heritage turkey? They're defined as those that sort of had a historic-based range that around the turn of the century in the 20s and so. But to qualify as a heritage turkey, they have to naturally mate. The fertility rates have to be in the 70 to 80% range, and they have to withstand outdoor production. There's no indoor production for these turkeys. They also have a fairly long lifespan. They live somewhere around 5 to 7 years. The hens live 5 to 7 years. And the breeding toms live for about 3 to 5 years. And the key is a slow rate of growth. Unlike the domestic turkeys we consume, or the ones now heritage turkeys are being consumed, but they grow much more slowly, and so they aren't prone to some of those problems I mentioned with the domestic turkey. Now, domestic turkeys, there's the Livestock Conservancy categorizes domestic varieties of heritage turkeys. There are 8 listed domestic turkeys. The black, the bronze, the Narragansett, the white Holland, the slate, the bourbon red, Beltsville small white, and the Royal Palm. There are other colors of turkeys, but they're not quite recognized as a separate subspecies. Now, domestic turkeys. Beginning in the 20s and extending into the 50s, turkeys were beginning to be selected for larger and larger breast size and breast width, and that became, they developed a turkey called the broad-breasted bronze. And in the 50s, poultry producers started trying to look for larger and larger turkeys, breasted turkeys, but without dark pin feathers, because the pin feathers had little dark spots on the breast of the turkey, and so they thought that was not very attractive, and they bred it out the dark and began to develop the broad-breasted white turkey. And since the 60s, that's kind of the one that is the major one we consume. And today, the way producers figure out what's the best one to pick is which one converts feed into breast meat at the most efficient way. So it's actually financially driven. You want to get the biggest breasted turkey with the least amount of feed, and so they're bred for that. So unfortunately, if you think about that, well, they can't mate independently. They have to be artificially inseminated. And so it's interesting. They're basically, it can't survive without artificial breeding. So let's talk about 10 turkey facts you may or may not know. So only male turkeys gobble. So that's why they're called gobblers. Female turkeys are called hens. Wild turkeys, as you know, fly. The hunters know all this. But of course, domestic turkeys can't. They're almost twice the size, and they can't fly. What may not be known is wild turkeys while on the ground during the day. At night, they sleep in trees. They can change the colors of their head depending upon their mood. If it's mating season, their colors change. And you can actually tell the sex of the turkey by looking at its excretions. One of the really interesting things, when our forefathers were trying to decide on the national bird, Ben Franklin was a big proponent of the turkey. Because in his view, the bald eagle was a bird of bad moral character, and that's because it stole from other birds. Meanwhile, the turkey was hardworking, a bird of courage, a true original Native American. The turkey should be the symbol of America, but it's not. Turkeys have better vision than humans, about 3 times, and they can cover a 270-degree range of sight. This pardoning of turkeys actually only started with George H.W. Bush's administration in 1989. That ceremony was the first one to pardon a turkey. And the floppy part of the turkey over the beak, it's called the snood, that is the fleshy appendage that is what attracts a female for mating. And based on a lot of data, apparently size matters for snoods. Now, each year, 46 million turkeys are killed. Each turkey weighs about 30 pounds on average, which means the Americans consume 1.4 billion pounds of turkey. So, lots of stuff to know about turkeys. Very exciting. I think it's Lily's excited for this holiday, and we're going to have a great holiday spirit, and I hope you will have a great Thanksgiving, and I can't wait to see you next week. Great. I can't wait for Thanksgiving. Yep. We'll be there. It'll be great. Can't wait. All right. Bye-bye. Hey Lily, I thought we were going to dress a turkey, not dress up like a turkey. Yeah, well, that sounds great. I can't wait for Thanksgiving. Yep, we'll be there. Lily and I will dress up a turkey. It'll be it'll be great. Can't wait. All right, bye-bye. Dress the turkey, not dress up as a turkey. Lily and I wanted to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a great holiday, and we'll see you after the holidays.